Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. I'm your host Mick Lennan and this is episode 34, the review of Ireland vs Scotland in the final round of the Six Nations. This episode's content will be the overall opinion of the game, the analysis of the game events, Six Nations final positioning after this weekend, and a discussion section on Well-Blooded 35. Okay, folks, so let's get straight into this with my prediction versus the actual score of that game just gone by. So if you remember, my prediction was 24-16 to Ireland, and I said we just about get those 4 bonus points. That bonus point with the 4 tries. But as you can expect, I am wrong once again, and I don't know why I give these opinions out anymore. The actual score there was 43-21 to Ireland. A very demanding win for Ireland there in the end. We got the winner right, if that's anything. And I actually did say some of the notable players that we're going to showcase there. They were decent as well. So look, I'm not entirely useless at this. But look, a 6-try performance there was unreal. Bonus points secured. And most importantly, Triple Crown wrapped up as well. Job done and then some. But it was an absolute rollercoaster match, and it was very exciting, very tense, very edge of your seat stuff, and exactly what Super Saturday needed, actually, in fairness. Going into the opinions there, yeah, look, a big highlight was Tommy O'Brien's second try there in the 80th minute, just to really encapsulate an absolute fantastic game from the Irish side. Perfect, full stop. Brilliant finish on the performance. And that was none other than having Tuipulotu, who was their captain, really make a mistake to set that up. So, look, fantastic game. Let's just go into some of the details here on the actual set pieces and stuff. So, scrums, scrums are dominant. Scrums are very dominant for Ireland. I know I was saying that against Italy, that we needed to up the game there because we didn't want anyone taking flight anymore. But yeah, we definitely performed. I think it was pretty good. We were very consistent throughout, even when we had to swap out the front pack there as well. Really, really consistent. I suppose we might have benefited a little bit there by Scotland's Turner being forced off for HIA very early on. So that was the 18th minute, and he is a fantastic player. So their set piece probably disrupted a bit there from that. But look, I'll take it. We had a very dominant piece there with the scrums. Moving over there to the lineouts, yeah. Lineouts were excellent, lads. They were such a nice thing to watch. It's exactly the point of the game that we have struggled with historically, and we have done such a good job to bring them back. Second try came directly from a very inventive lineout as well. So their assists from that, it was the maul that Sheehan just peeled off brilliantly on it. And I did note a few times there that I really wanted to see Ireland go into those mauls, and we definitely have. And we have the pack, we have the force there to push through. So delighted to see that coming in. And as well, the bonus point try came in from a lineout as well, from halfway, and led in for a 20-phase assault, which Darren Murray actually finished off for his debut as a Six Nations starter there. So fantastic for him as well. And look, lineouts, brilliant. Defence was good. I wouldn't say, probably wasn't excellent, probably wasn't perfect, but look, it did the job. And when you're I often say it, and I know it's a bit of a cop out a bit sometimes, but when your attack is so good, you generally don't need that much of a defence. But look, we would have let them in for their bonus point as well if that's the case. So yeah, look, it worked well for the most of the game. We held Scotland out an awful lot. Tyburn just did a fantastic job. He's a cheat code when it comes to jackals, really, isn't it? He's always over the ball. It's fantastic. But look, there was a couple of cracks there. 52nd minute to the 61st minute, we had Russell who darted through a gap there, kind of a soft shoulder from Jameson Gibson Park. And then you had Rory Darge, get quick hands from Gilchrist. So look, we conceded 14 points in 9 minutes, and that's exactly not what you want to do, especially coming into the World Cup. I think you can probably benefit from Scotland there, who somehow always shit the bed when it comes to these things. But if you're talking about New Zealand, Africa, they're going to really, really hammer home with those poor defensive structures. So yeah, look, a couple of missed tackles there as well, not fantastic, but I would say it was good enough that we were able to hold off at the crucial moments and keep that score hugely gapped. Into the attack then, look, brilliant. It was so clinical when it counted. It was just, that's what you want to see. The opening 20 minutes were probably the best attacking display we've seen Ireland have in a long time. Bundyaki came off the bench as well, completely changed the tempo. He completely set up O'Brien's first try. So look, fantastic, and that's what you want to see. That's the kind of high impact, high pace attacking structure you want to see throughout. And I'd be delighted if we could follow that through into the autumn series, and then obviously back into the Rugby World Cup then 2027. Crowley's kicking game there as well. Yeah, he pinned Scotland very deep, repeatedly as well, and he kept the pressure on. So you can't really fault much of it there, to be honest. The attacking structure, and considering we had, what was this, 7 tries? Come on, or sorry, 6 tries, like, how could you really fault that, in a way? Look, I think the kicks, the lineouts, all those things put together, perfect attacking structure. Going into some notable Leinster players there. Caelan Doris, my God, has he not proved himself as probably one of the best captains we've ever had? Player of the match level performance, obviously, he got that. He repeatedly made meters off a slow ball there. His ability to break at the gain line is just immense. He set up Murray's try as well alongside Bundyaki, and he was just everywhere. So hats off to him, fantastic. Dan Sheehan as well. Look, we we rested him against Wales, which arguably probably wasn't the best of ideas, considering Wales actually put it up against us. But has he not come back and absolutely ruined Scotland here? That perfectly peeled off try there from the lineout was just pure textbook Dan Sheehan work there. You've seen him do that numerous times for Leinster. He's nearly guaranteed to do that if he's at the back of a maul coming off of a lineout. Look, and obviously he's taken those lineouts as well, so they were all perfect. So completely all-rounder there, Dan Sheehan, perfect. And he couldn't go without mentioning Tommy O'Brien. My God, 2 tries, huge work rate, and he won some aerial battles there as well. He definitely proved his place on that Ireland team. He is amazing. That man is probably, as I said before, probably one of the best wingers Leinster have ever produced. So delighted to see him there. Going into some not able Leinster players, I think I've only really one. That team performance was so good, I would find it very hard to find any bad points about it. The only person I would say is probably Gary Ringrose. He just didn't have his top A game. He missed a few tackles, but that's all I'll say. It's a team effort. You don't win based on one bad person, or it was a huge team effort, and I think he just probably didn't have the showcase of his skills on that day. Going into a neutral player there, and I hate to say it's probably Jack Conan. Look, he did exactly what his position said on the tin. But I'd say he's just tired from being the absolute GOAT in every other game. He didn't really do anything spectacular, but doing their job is exactly what we want. So yeah, neutral player there, but still a fantastic player. The referee was Luke Pearce. No real crazy calls from him really. There was one flat pass to Stein that looked marginally forward now, to be honest, and it wasn't called back. He actually waited on. But no, he let the game flow. I don't think he was unfair to either side. Yeah, happy enough with that. In a line, Ireland did exactly what we needed to do, and you know what? After we did that, we thought England did the same, but unfortunately France broke our hearts in the last kick of the game. Stupid, sexy Ramos. Okay, so just going into match events here. 3rd minute, very early on try, love to see it for Ireland. Jamie Osborne, a very inventive line-out. It was a couple of quick phases through there, and it was just darted off to Osborne, who was at pace right underneath the posts, and scored our first and opening try. And that was converted successfully by Crowley. Brought a score from Ireland 7, Scotland 0. 7th minute then, a try from Scotland. Darcy Graham, and I know he came into this game saying he'd had it in the bag, and I noted there in the preview that he hadn't actually scored against Ireland ever before, but he got his first one 7th minute in. 19 phases of the Scottish attack structure there, and then Russell just fizzed a looping pass out to Graham, who finished in the corner. That was converted successfully by Russell as well, brought the game drawn. Ireland 7, Scotland 7. Didn't have to wait too long then though. 11th minute try, Ireland, Dan Sheehan. This was the perfect line-out maul that he just positioned himself perfectly in the back, slightly to the right. He saw a gap and he just slipped through off that line-out and straight down for a perfect little Dan Sheehan try. That was converted successfully by Crowley, brought the score to Ireland 14, Scotland 7. 19th minute then, try for Ireland, Robert Balcoon. Brilliant individual finish. He dove over into the corner to beat Graham to the ball. But, he was such a huge pace there to get that. Unfortunately, that was missed by Crowley, and that brought the score to Ireland 19, Scotland 7. The half-time score there was also Ireland 19, Scotland 7. 52nd minute then, so we had to wait a good bit of time there before our first one. Try for Scotland, Finn Russell. A quick tap penalty there. He spotted a gap, and the defence wasn't ready for him, unfortunately. But that brought the game right back on. So Ireland 19, and that was converted successfully by Russell as well. Ireland 19, Scotland 14. 56th minute then, try for Ireland, Darren Murray. That was his debut as well. Fantastic for him. I'd love to see it. a 20 phase assault here off of a line out started by Doris and straight into the midfield, and Murray picks and goes, bonus point secured there. Fantastic for him. You could see it in his face. He was absolutely delighted. That was converted successfully by Crowley as well, brought the score to Ireland 26, Scotland 14. 61st minute then, a try for Scotland. Rory Darge, quick hands from Gilchrist there, opened up completely into space, and Darge finished brilliantly. In fairness, defence could not keep up with him. Scotland back to within 5 once again. A very exciting game that was converted successfully by Russell, as you would imagine. Ireland 26, Scotland 21. 68th minute then, another try for Ireland, and that was his first for Tommy O'Brien. Completely brilliant line break from Bundyaki there, and O'Brien finishes in the corner. Absolutely perfect try, and kind of brought that breathing room a little bit more up for us, which we were a little bit panicked at that point because it was very close to the end of the game. That was converted successfully by Crowley, brought the score to Ireland 33, Scotland 21. 73rd minute then, we actually got a penalty. It was a very high wire aerial collision. They reviewed it a bit. There was not really a rugby incident. But look, anyway, Crowley slots that over for 3 points. Ireland 36, Scotland 21. And then the absolute perfect finisher for the game, an 80-minute try by none other than Tommy O'Brien again. And this was backed by Tuipulotu, who just absolutely spilled the ball very deep in his own half. And O'Brien was... actually, it was McCluskey was just ready to pick that up. He did his kind of, an NFL-style throw back to Tommy O'Brien, who was at pace as well, and he sprints home, cherry on top there. So that was successfully converted by Crowley, brought the final score to Ireland 43, Scotland 21. Man of the match there was Caelan Doris, and he definitely deserved it. An absolute captain masterclass, relentless in the ball carrying. Huge moments in attack and defence. He had a huge break in the midfield, which directly set up the bonus point try. And he, on top of all that, he was completely humble and said that Byrne actually deserved the Man of the Match medal in the speech. So yeah, you can't fault him. Alright, so where did that leave the Six Nations final table position? Well, as we all know, France are the champions, and that is back-to-back titles for them. Now, they were expecting to get back-to-back Grand Slams, which would have broken the record, but they didn't. They did get the seal of the win over England, a very, very tight game, actually a very good one to watch. 48-46, last grasp there by stupid sexy Ramos, as I said, with his penalty, and he just never misses. So it was very disappointing for us. We could have actually got not only the Triple Crown, but the whole championship in the bag there. We obviously came second there, Triple Crown winners, and that's something we can say that France have never won. So there we are, and actually we won it 4 times in 5 years, so happy out. Scotland came third, and we obviously crushed their dreams there, unfortunately. But even if they bet us, France would have crushed them as well. But yeah, look, fantastic for them. They probably are going to come out of this thinking that they've wasted huge chances. They didn't even get the Triple Crown, and they haven't got that since 1990. So that is horrible for them, and it also marks the 12th consecutive defeat to Ireland. So yeah, unfortunately for them, but who cares, because we are Ireland here, so we are happy out. Fourth there was Italy, and I think they probably would have wanted a higher position there given their performances. Look, I don't know what happened to them against Wales. It's like they forgot that they were a very competitive team and went back into their 60-minute kind of performance problems. But yeah, look, it wouldn't have got them any higher, but I think they would have preferred to have a lot more points. Fifth there, England, worst Six Nations performance for them since 2000. They just, nearly bet France. Probably kept Steve Borwick in the job in that final game, but yeah, very, very poor performance coming from them for the Six Nations. And then the wooden spoon there was sixth, and Wales. Yeah, look, I mean, the silver lining for Wales there is they got their first win in 3 years. So, they beat Italy 31-17, if that was ever a silver lining to have, but they still came last. So, yeah, whatever. Next game for us is actually Leinster back in the URC. So it's Glasgow Warriors versus Leinster, Saturday 21st of March, and that is Scottstown Stadium in Glasgow at 5:30 kickoff. Tickets are still available there, and I won't be going, but I hope you can find your way over to Glasgow, as that will be an absolute cracker, considering they are top of the table and only 4 points away from us. So we need that in the bag, lads. Alright, so this is a discussion point I kind of want to brought up, and I would have said at the very beginning of the Six Nations that I thought our team was going to be a little bit, same old new situation, and we'd be coming into the World Cup in 2027 not having really done anything to change it up a bit. But after this Six Nations, you have to hand it to Andy Farrell. He is after blooding that 35 players fantastically. So we played 35 players overall in that Six Nations, and that is probably the most ever he has done in his tenure in the Six Nations. So look, yeah, it's the most ever he's ever done in his tenure, and that's fantastic. That's what we want to see. Compare that to last season. Ireland used 27 players overall, and that was actually, 3 of them were due to injury, so they weren't first choices to be brought in. And that's the kind of squad rotation we want to see. We want to see deliberate, we want to see calculated and purposeful, squad rotation there coming into the World Cup for 2027. And that's exactly what we want to see. Like, you're talking the Autumn Nation Series being the only really large competitive set piece we're going to see. Well, Six Nations obviously, but playing teams that we're not familiar with, and that's what we want to see there. Going into some selections there, there was no selection more indicative of him trying to change it up than Dan Sheehan having a rest week against Wales. Like, that's your main man, your main hooker there. You don't really want to be throwing him out. And they handed it to Tom Stewart. And, I think that's actually, it's stood to the team. It stood to those individual players that when they do have to step up in the likes of the Rugby World Cup in 2027, they will be able to do that. And they'll be, much more familiar with the teammates around them. Nick Timoney there getting his belated first Six Nations start at the age of 30, that's something that probably never should have happened. He's a fantastic player. He should have gotten that way before this. Darren Murray there handed pretty much his Six Nations debut off the bench and then scores a try. Fantastic. That's what you want to see. Van der Fleer and Joe McCarthy weren't always the first choice throughout the Six Nations as well. That really showed their depth there. Those are 2 fantastic players. Lads like Murray, Clarkson, Osborne, all of them getting blooded in a very meaningful way in these high pressure games is invaluable. It's what we want to see coming into the World Cup 2027. It's what we want to see coming into the Autumn Series. And, putting them back into their individual clubs here, they'll have that even air of success with them now. Going back into them, which is obviously going to stand to all the provincial games as well coming up. And look, okay, you could probably say, yeah, Farrell's hand was turned a bit there. The likes of Hugo Keenan being injured very late into the game. Mac Hansen obviously being injured and being ruled out entirely. Bundy Aki obviously getting that sighting where he was gone for 3 of the 4 games. 4 to 5 games, should I say, and not exactly what you want to see. And losing James Lowe then as well. So yeah, a couple of injuries there that would have really turned the hand of Andy Farrell. But I think he really took that in his stride, and he played the teams very well. And if you take the France defeat out of it, I think we had a very, very good setup for the Rugby World Cup in 2027. I think we've come out of that with an awful lot higher confidence that we would have went in. And the likes of Balcoon there, Adogbo, all these players like that's huge. Like, the list goes on obviously, but I just think with the Autumn Series coming up, we can expect many more of these lads being present. It's a great place to be coming over to the Australian side of things. And, having that over-reliance on the core group of players is going to expose us. And you can see it, and as I said before, you can see it in the kind of the hangover from the Lions there, where they looked tired. They looked like they needed to really, get an injection of pace or something. And I think that's exactly what we got. And, even seeing Stockdale coming back, like that was fantastic for him. Now, I didn't really put him in a very high regard for the games he played. But, having those players on the pitch there to be able to say, well, that's our depth now, and we can still play well and defeat all these teams in the Six Nations with this huge, diverse team, I'm happy enough with it. I think we're in a great place. I can't wait for the Rugby World Cup 2027. After looking at that group there now, and looking at all the clubs as well, have done fairly decently outside of this, with all these players gone, I think we're a good place, and I don't want to jinx it, but I think we have it in the bag, lads. We'll get to that semi-final now, and I swear to God, we're gonna lose the head. Alright, that's her, folks. If you haven't already, please do follow us on social media, put some comments here on YouTube or Spotify or even Apple Podcasts. And look, if you're at the game in Glasgow, fair play. I'm very jealous, and I hope we actually smash them so we can get to the top of that table. That'd be such a nice end to the Six Nations as well. But as always, thanks for listening.